rarely, for the most part, ever ask people to
Tell me
move
if this
their
works.
vehicles.
Freddie, I really thank you very much. I really appreciate the offer. And, what really got me thinking was the idea of playing in a non-smoking venue is very appealing to me. But I don't know if you're aware of this, but, in the last year, got over 50,000 YouTube views. And, I've got thousands of fans all around the world now. And I was in 3 magazines, including the cover of an international magazine that has a subscription of 60,000.
I think already you've said too much. I don't think you need to say any of that. I think you need to politely thank him.
Yeah.
And don't give a real reason why. If you give a reason why, make it something.
Well, how am I going to convey that?
Because he'll get it. I think he'll get it in a way where he'll think this. He'll think Rick is better. He's worth more than what I'm offering him. Yeah. Because but he'll also understand that.
I'll just say the numbers don't add up. Can I just say
I wouldn't even say it. I don't even think you need to say it. I think you need to politely decline, and if you give any reason, make it something vague, like my health. I can't be there from the beginning to the end.
I'll say, the problem is other people use
the gear.
Equipment.
Yeah, and I don't want to be responsible to a guitar player or a drummer who's going to get something broken or blown, and then now you have to replace it. Because are you going to say, Freddie, are you going to replace it if that happens?
Of course not.
Because I've been at gigs where people have come up drunk and or just literally stand next to me and like they're so drunk they're pouring their beer on my pedal board, things like that. I've had it where a drunk guy fell over. Last gig I took was actually for Dee Dee, and it was like many years back. And I ended up walking away with like $230 or something like that. And at the end, I still was like, it still wasn't worth the money because of what happened that night. Like I had like cops showed up there. There was a fight. There was the drummer was kind of like pushing into the pay with the owner and collecting the money when there was already an arranged amount of money to be paid, and he agreed to a certain amount, like he agreed to $100 or something like that. But I had set it up to where I was going to make a little more money, and then on top, like a little more, like is in like $25 or something like that, and then we got all this money in tips. These people like threw like $200 some in tips.
That has to be split equally.
That's what we did. We split it equally. So I ended up making alone like $220, and they made probably like 170 something or something like that. And but then what happened was the drummer kind of like intercepted the money, and it caused some weird tension there. And then there were just so many things that happened that night. This guy fell over, first song, this drunk guy fell over on the speaker, and the cord of the speaker got jammed and crunched into the speaker, and the speaker I was borrowing from a friend. So now I have to bring back a piece of like messed up gear because the speaker got jammed in his thing. On top of that, we had issues with the mixer. Brian was there, and he had to switch out mixers because we were getting all this distortion with the first mixer we were using. Like there was just a lot of things that made the night really bad. And then still at the end, I still made over 200 something. And then I still thought like, yeah, I remember why I quit. And then I didn't take any gigs pretty much after that, except I took one New Year's gig because the pay was $500 for me to pretend to play the keyboard. So I was like, okay, for a couple hours to pretend to play the keyboard, $500, I could really use that. But aside from that, I've been offered gigs all the time and I'm not taking them.
The concept of having to transport gear is just something.
Well, that's the work right there, but it's not only that. It's not only the transporting of the gear. It's just everything compiled, and you never know what's going to happen that night. I've been in.
There's so many things you have to remember. There's so many things. There's so many components to a PA system.
I've been in places where I've been talking to people and they left that night and died. It's just, I mean, everybody's probably had those experiences, but when you see
That's what happened at Frank's Jam the other night, Tuesday night. I didn't know the guy. But Frank has a jam a Tuesday night at Norb's somewhere, I don't know, Norb. And some guy was playing guitar and had a stroke right on stage or something.
and died?
No, I think he's in the hospital, but he's in bad shape. All right, go ahead.
I love my dog. Yeah, it is actually.
He makes me smile for a while. Love my dog. He's low to the ground. He just hangs around. I love my dog. I love my dog. His name is Majister, 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 Ludi. His name is Majister, 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 Ludi. I love my dog. Likes to wag his tail. Let's do that verse again. Love my dog. Likes to wag his tail. I love my dog. He's a male. His name is Majister, 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 Ludi. His name is Majister, 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 Majister. Yeah. I love my dog. He's low to the ground. He just hangs around. I love my dog.
Another verse.
Just jamming it. No,
How many verses do you have?
I've got 3.
So do the third one.
No, I've already done all 3.
So the first one is,
No, I don't know. I might rearrange it.
okay, the first one is I love my dog.
All right, the first verse right now is he makes me smile. I love my dog. He makes me smile for just a while. I love my dog.
It's like a nursery rhyme.
He's low to the ground, just hangs around. I love my dog. I love my dog. His name is Majister, 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 Ludi. His name is Majister, 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 Ludi. The instrumental would be right here.
So I'm trying to think of do your chorus.
His name is Majister.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. His name.
Majister, 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 Ludi. His name is Majister, 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 Ludi. I love my dog. Likes to wag his tail. Love my dog. He's a male. Play that guitar. Chuck has agreed to do the solo. Unless you want to do it. Maybe you'll both do it.
honestly, my opinion is you should just have Chuck produce it. Because then, you know, otherwise, I think you're going to have a conflict. But, I mean, if you just want to bring him in and do guitar,
Yeah, he worked really well with Louis. He was very professional with Louis. They were like peas in a pod.
I don't know why you don't let him produce one.
Because he has no place to do it. He doesn't have a
That makes
studio.
sense. Right.
And he hasn't seen Louis's new studio. He's going to freak out. I want you to see it too. It's like $1 million studio.
You should probably let Chuck do guitar and bass. Or the drums. I mean, who's going to do the drums? Don't neglect the drums on this song. Louis has a tendency of neglecting the drums.
I should have
sometimes.
Eddie do it, right? I've already talked to Eddie
I don't think
about
you
it.
even need somebody to play them. I think they can be programmed.
How would you program it? You'd have a lot of energy, huh?
I don't know until I played with it. I don't know until I would play with it. My thing in playing with it is I could make it sound really cool, but it would be like I'd have to spend some hours playing with it, like messing around with the way it sounds. And you have to build it. It's like there's different ways you could do it, but you could play it on a keyboard, the drum pattern, and then meticulously you go in and you draw it, you sculpt it, or you orchestrate it as if a real drummer was playing it. And so in order to make it sound realistic, it's a lot of tedious, in-depth like tweaking to give it dynamics and to give it the tonality and the way that it sounds and feels like a real drummer. But the other route you can go that's more simple is you can make it sound a little electronic. It doesn't have to sound like a real drummer. It could be like more on the EDM side, which would probably even go over better. Like if you had some kind of dance beat behind it, like a disco dance beat, but that it would have to be toned down so that it's not like obnoxiously over the song. Yeah. It could be like, Majister, you know, whatever, or what I was playing on the drums. I think the chorus I was playing on the drums was cool. It was like bam 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 bam, you know, like little fills in there, and then crashes, like. I mean, you could have Eddie play it, but how's he going to record it? Does the Lewis have an electronic drum set?
No,
but Eddie would have to bring his.
Yes,
yeah.
he'd have to.
If he wants to do, if you can get Eddie to do it, then do it. I mean, I would do that. That would work if he would go through the trouble to do it. Sure, but you just want to make sure at that point he's playing the right parts. But then again, Lewis will always be able to go back and edit everything.
Yes, exactly.
So and there's not going to be opinions involved. It's just going to be Lewis is just going to do it.
You know what we did one time?
You should probably get Eddie. If you can get him for like 50 70 bucks or something,
I
offered
him 50 plus lunch or dinner. He said sold. He said,
okay. Then there you go. Do it.
He was very enthusiastic.
I would do that then.
And so was Chuck.
Because you'll get a real drummer.
Chuck was enthusiastic too.
Yeah, then
I
go
said,
with
Chuck,
that.
the song is not about you or your dog, but you inspired it. I never would have written it if it hadn't been for your posts on Facebook.
Yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that an amazing chord? No, it didn't come from that guy at
Well, what that guy at the, what do you call it? The King's Head, he said, somebody said, maybe it was, you know who it was? It was, what's his name that was here that one time? Maybe he's the one that said, you dropped the...
who was it? Who are you thinking of?
That other guy was tuned down. No, he was actually like that. He was tuned down because he was playing this song. He was playing it all weird, and I don't know. I don't remember. It was either him or it was the guy that was here that has like all these albums of music, all these like recordings. Why can't I think of his name?
Johnny?
No, he was the guy that came here the other night when.
The fuck was his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't think he's very, between you and me, I don't think he's good at all. Is he?
I haven't heard anything good yet,
Yeah,
but I can't sit there and listen to like 800 tracks.
Yeah, I read what you said. No,
I mean, if he sends me something that's like super catchy.
No, he realizes he's not.
It doesn't mean he can't be. It doesn't mean that there's not a good
He's
idea.
a nice guy, though.
It doesn't mean that there's not a good idea in there.
He
There,
loves
there could
to
be
smoke
something
pot.
in there that could be a hit. Let's do the Magister.